Welcome back to the third and final episode of building a real estate management app with Python. Today, we will wrap up our project using XAMPP to store our database. You can download XAMPP from the link in the video description below. The code for the entire series is also available in the video description. Let's get started.
Okay, so after you finish downloading XAMPP, right, and you run the installer package, this is gonna pop up, right? So you're just gonna press next. Gonna leave this like this. Just press next, right? So you're gonna install this inside your C folder or any other drive you're gonna install it into, right? So you just have to memorize where this is at, right? Then you're just gonna say next, and just gonna press a lot on next after this, right? So that is just gonna install and everything. So I already have this installed, so I'm not gonna run this. So I'm gonna cancel. Okay. Okay, so after your XAMPP is done installing, right, you need to navigate to where the folder is installed, right? So mine is inside my D drive, right? So if you installed it inside C drive, you're just gonna navigate to that drive. Then you're gonna select the XAMPP folder. Then at the bottom, you're gonna look for this XAMPP control here, and you're gonna run it as an administrator, right? Okay, let me minimize this. So this is going to pop up, right? And you need to start this and this, the Apache and MySQL ones. Okay, so after running these two, running Apache and MySQL, right? You can close this same control panel. So now we're not gonna need it now, right? Since we've run this as an administrator, right? So every time your PC loads up, XAMPP is just gonna run in the background, right? So what we need to do is open our browser. Now that we have our browser open, right? Inside here we need to type in localhost like this, right? Then our XAMPP is gonna open, right? Then we need to open PHP myadmin. Okay, now my PHP admin is open, right? So right here we just need to say new. So we're just gonna create a database here, and we're just gonna call it RAM like this, and create, right? Okay, so we're not gonna add any table or anything in here, right? So we're gonna do that inside our PyCharm or whichever text editor you're using, right? So now we're done with this. We can close this, then open PyCharm or whatever text editor you're using, right? So let's proceed. Okay, so this is where we left off in our previous video, right? So before we do anything, right, we need to open our requirements.txt, right? So in here, right, we are going to use Psychog G2, right? I hope I didn't butcher the name. But so since we're using XAMPP now, we're going to use this one. So you're just gonna run the requirements.txt, and these are the ones, right? They're not gonna install because we already installed them when we started working on this project, right? So what you can do, you can just let me just copy this. You can copy this like this. Open your terminal, then pip install. So you're just gonna paste it in there. Then you're gonna run this command here. So I already have it installed, so I'm not gonna run this command. So I'm gonna close the terminal. Then I'm just gonna create a folder inside the run template, right? The main template we're using, the folder. So I'm just gonna say new directory. So I'm just gonna call this let me call it data like this. Then inside that directory, I'm gonna create a file. So I'm just gonna call it, let me just say connection dot py like this, right? So inside this connection, right, I'm gonna import uh my SQL connector, right? So here I'm gonna say import my SQL dot right. Then underneath this import line, right, I'm gonna put I'm going to put a few variables. So the first one is going to be a host, and our host is going to be localhost, like this. Then I'm going to have user. So our user, since we're using XAMPP, the default one is just root. Then password. Password is just going to be, this is just going to be empty. So here let's just use passwd like this. Then we're gonna have database. So let me just put DB here, and I'll name our database REM like this. So let's save it. Underneath here, let's create a function. So we're gonna call this function. So we're gonna say define, and our function is going to be connection. Then we're gonna put parentheses here, semicolon. Underneath that, we're just gonna say return mysql dot connector dot connect. So what are we going to connect? What are we going to use to connect? So our host is going to be equal to host, and then our user is going to be user. Password is going to be passwd, and our database is going to be db like this, right? Okay, so let's control save it. So for now we're done with this one. So we can just close this connection.py and minimize this directory, right? And get rid of requirements.txt like this. So inside our run template, you're gonna see a file labeled tables.py. Right? So I'm just gonna double click it. So what this file is going to do is just gonna create our tables inside the database that we made earlier when we were done installing XAMPP, right? So here already we have it filled out here. So inside the GitHub repository, right, you're gonna see that the host user and the database are going to be empty. So you're just gonna fill that out. Then once you're done filling that out, you're just gonna run this tables.py. So here I'm just gonna run this file, right? So if it runs successfully, we're just gonna see done printed inside the terminal. Okay. So now our database should be ready. So I'm gonna minimize the terminal, get rid of tables.py, and started working on our register user functions and our login user function. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm just gonna create some space between these two functions. Then get rid of this print function, print login user function. And so I'm just gonna get rid of it. Then here I'm gonna nest another if statement. So here I'm gonna say if length of what? So I'm gonna say if length of password is less than 8, like this, right? So I'm just gonna copy these two here, then paste them here. So this one is going to be password must be at least 8 characters long. So let me get rid of this and say password must be at least 8 characters long, like this. And this color is just going to remain red. But if our password is equal to 8 characters or long, right, we're going to say else. Then here we need to say con for connection, right? Then our connection is going to come from connection. Then let's put parentheses. So let's import this. So this connection function is inside our connection.py, inside our data directory. So we're just going to call this function here. So this is the function we're gonna call here. So let's see if I can import it from here. Tables.connection, we need data.connection. So I'm gonna call this one. Okay. So if you're using any other text editor that doesn't allow you to import like this, you're just gonna say from data.connection import connection. That's simple. Okay. Underneath our con variable, right? I'm just gonna say cursor. So our cursor is going to be con dot cursor like this. Then underneath our cursor here, we need to put a try except block. So here I'm gonna say try like this. Then I'm gonna say SQL. So our SQL statement is gonna be select all from users where email is equal to percentage s. So we're just gonna use a percentage s so that we can be able to avoid our SQL injection, right? So let me just put some spacing here to make it look all right. Then underneath that, I'm gonna say values, and inside here, let's put inside a list. Let me just put a email inside here. So I'm just gonna call it values. So I'm just going because I'm going to be using this format for adding, updating clients, properties, and transactions, right? So I'm just gonna be saying SQL, then I put the statement inside the SQL, then values. If you're gonna add 1 or 2 or 3 variables, they're just gonna be inside this value list, right? Values list. So here I'm just gonna call it values, but for now we just only have one value inside here. Okay, so let's proceed. Then underneath the values list, right? I'm gonna say users. Before I do that, I need to say cursor dot execute. So we're gonna execute our SQL and our values. So these are the things we're gonna pass inside here. Then underneath our cursor, let's say users. So our users are going to be cursor dot fetch all. So we're gonna fetch everything about what we're gonna find when we search the database using our email, right? So let's say if a user is named Steve, Steve John, the same is gonna be John, the email is gonna be John and something and the ID and whatnot. So once we find Steve's email, we're gonna take everything associated with that email, right? Then we're gonna store it inside our users here. So we might as well just call it user, but I'm just gonna call it users. So fetch all and parentheses, control save it. Then what we need to do here, we need to commit, right? So we're gonna say con dot commit so that we can save. We need to say commit here. Let's just close it. Here let's say con dot close. Then we're gonna put parentheses like this, right? Underneath here, we need to put an if statement. So here I'm gonna say, excuse me. Here I'm gonna say if users is equal to none or users is equal to, let's just put an empty list like this. Here when I say self.its, let me just copy this. So here let's just say invalid credentials like this, right? Then else if we get something from our database, right? So when I say else, what we're gonna say here is we're gonna add a for loop. So here we're gonna say for x in users. So we're just gonna iterate inside the list. Everything that we're gonna get is gonna be stored inside a list, right? So our user ID. So we need to get our user ID. So that's the ID of the user, because it's going to be unique for all the users that we're going to create. So you're going to say user ID is equal to, so let's open tables.py. If you look at users, right, so our ID is going to be at index 0, then our email is going to be at index 2. So we're only going to need this one, our email, and our password. Okay, so let's go back to auth.py. So our user ID is going to be x at index 0. Then our password. So we're gonna say password underscore in underscore database. So this is going to be at index 4, like this. Then so the password that's going to be stored in our database is going to be hashed, right? So what we need to do, we need to take the password that's gonna be inputted by the user, then we're gonna hash it so that we can compare the hashed password inside our database and the hashed password that we just got from our user. So here what we need to do, here we need to say password underscore. Then here when I say password underscore is going to be hashlib, right? Let's import it. Import hashlib like this. So here when I say dot SHA-256 parentheses, so inside these parentheses we're gonna say password. So now we're gonna take the password that we're gonna get from the user, then we need to encode it. Then let's put parentheses here, right? Then let's get out of it. Then we're gonna say dot x digest like this, parentheses here, then save it. So now what we need to do here, we can say password. So I'm just gonna call it password find. No, password underscore find now is going to be our hashed password like this. So now inside our for loop, right, we need to check if our password, the password inside our database and the password find now are the same. So we're gonna say if password in DB is the same as password final like this. So if it's the same, we're gonna say, so let's say session file. So if it's the same, right, we're just gonna take our user ID and our email and we're gonna save it inside our session.json file, right? So we created it earlier when we were creating our authentication. So you're gonna say session file is equal to session. Let's put this inside quotes. So session dot JSON like this. Then I'm gonna say with open. So what we need to do now, we're gonna open our session file like this. Then we need to say comma. Then we're gonna put a W inside quotes, right? Because we need to write information to this session file. Then outside parentheses, we're gonna say as file. Then I'll put semicolon here. So now inside here, we're gonna say JSON. So we need to import this. So we're just gonna say import JSON. Okay. So now we're gonna say JSON.dump. Then now we're gonna put parentheses here, right? Inside this parentheses, we need to put curly braces here. So inside here, we're gonna say inside quotes user underscore ID. Then we're gonna put user ID here. Then let's add a comma. Then we're gonna say email like this. Then here we need to say email also. Then we're gonna get rid of our curly braces, then put a comma, then file like this, right? Now what we need to do, right? Now we need to say we need to be able to change our screens. So let's say the user puts the right email address and the right password. So they're gonna be logged in and be made able to access our system, right? So now what we need to do, we need to change our screens. So here when I say md app dot let's import this Kivy. Yeah, let's import this one. So md app dot get running app, right? Dot root dot ids dot let's navigate to our app folder, then you need your py. So we call this one, or we call it screen manager. Okay, so let me paste it here. Dot current is going to be, we called it, I think we called it home screen if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so let's paste it here like this. So now we're able, let's say if we put in the right details, now we can access our system. Now let's put an else here. So else let me copy this, then paste it here. So this one, let's just leave it like this. Let's tab it inside. Okay, perfect. So now what we need to do, shift tab, let's work on our accept, right? So here, this needs to be exception as error like this. Then let me check something in our widgets folder, right? Pop-ups. So inside the pop-ups.py, right, we have this warning pop-up here, right? So you might not have it from the previous videos, right? But if you take the one that's inside our GitHub repository, you're gonna find it in there. Okay, so let's navigate. Let me close this. Then we're not gonna need connection with Pi, and we're not gonna need tables, and we're not gonna need this one too. So let me close it. Okay, so here I'm gonna say connect. Then I'm gonna say connect is equal to a warning pop-up. Then let's put parentheses here. Right. Okay, so it's imported here from widgets.popups import warning pop-up. Okay, so let's proceed. Then inside here, when I say connect dot title, so this is quite similar to our confirm pop-up, but this one is not gonna do anything. It's just gonna show you a warning pop-up. It's more like an error. They say we can't connect to our database, so it's just gonna pop up on the screen. Right. So the title here, let's put an F here. Then curly braces here. Then let's put our error here. So the error is just gonna be displayed with our warning pop-up. Then here we need to say connect dot open and parentheses like this. So now our pop-up is gonna show, right? Then underneath our accept block here, let's put a finally block. So here when I say finally, so with this one, whatever is gonna happen, right? Whether we connected the functions or it was correct, we didn't get any error, we're just gonna close our connection. Right? So you're gonna say con, right? Let's get rid of it. Let's just put it inside an if statement, right? If the connection is still open, we're just gonna close it. So you're gonna say if con, then when I say con.close. Okay, I believe this is fine. So what we need to do, right? I'm just gonna copy this. I'm just gonna copy up until year, like this. Before I copy it, let me see if there's something I can do to this register user function first. Okay, I'll just leave it like this. Okay, fine. So Control C, then get rid of this, then paste it here. All right. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna get rid of everything else inside here. I'm just gonna leave. Okay, just gonna leave like this, right? Then we need to tab this inside like this. Excuse me. Then inside our try, right? What we need to do here is when I say SQL, then our SQL statement is going to be select one from users where email is equal to %s, like this. Then we're gonna say limit 1, like this. Then our values, let's just put email here inside the square brackets. Then here we're gonna say cursor dot. So we need to fetch one. Let's execute first. So we're gonna execute our SQL and our values like this. Then here let's say result. So this needs to be an equal sign. So our result is going to be cursor dot fetch one. Then parentheses like this. So that needs to be a comma. Okay. So now what we need to do, right? When I say if result, so if we get information from our database, right? If the email is in there, right, inside our database, right, then we're gonna present with a word then error on our form, right? So it's just gonna tell the user that this email is already taken. Okay, so when I say if result, if there's something inside result, then you're gonna say self dot, let me just scroll up, let me just copy this. Then I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, so this one is going to be email already taken or email already in use. But I'm just gonna say email already. Let me just say already in use like this. Then let's put an else here. Then what we need to do, right? If the email is not taken, so we need to hash the email that we're gonna get from our user before we send it into our database, before we save it and register the user, right? So let me just scroll up. So I'm just gonna copy this here. Then I'm gonna paste it here like this. Okay, so we're not gonna need this if password is what the password final and whatnot, right? So we're just gonna make sure that we have these two lines here, but we're gonna need to write information to our session.json and change our screens. So let me just take this, then shift tab it one time, then get rid of our if statement here. Okay, now we need to add the information that we're gonna get to our database, right? Then we need to make sure we get our ID from what you call it, last inserted ID here. So underneath our password final is go to password underscore, right? Here I'm just gonna say SQL, and the SQL statement is going to be insert into users, right? So what are we going to insert inside users? So we're going to insert name, email, phone, and password, like this. So let me just put some space in here so that it looks okay, right? Then here we're gonna say values. Then let's put some percentages. So we need to put 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I'm gonna say percentage. This needs to be lowercase s. So let me just copy it. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then I need our SQL variable, right? We need to say values. So our list of values is gonna have name, comma, email. Then it's gonna have phone, then password final, like this. So we're just gonna store our hashed password inside our database. We're not gonna store our password as plain text here. Then we need to execute this. So cursor, let me just copy it. Where is it? I copied the wrong thing. So this needs to be cursor dot execute. Then we're gonna execute SQL and values, like this. What we need to do, right? We need to fetch our ID, our user ID, so that we can be able to store it inside our session.json. Then we're gonna commit. So here, let's just say user ID is going to be the cursor dot last row ID, like this, right? Then we need to commit. So here we need to say con dot commit and con dot close. So even if we don't close the connection here, after everything is done, we're just gonna close it here. But let's just close it here also. Okay, I believe this is fine. So I'm just gonna run the system and check if we can register a user. Then after registering a user, then we're gonna log in the user. But let me just check something before I do anything here. Let's navigate to our home and home.kv. So here's our logout button, right? So we don't have a function to log out, right? So if you register, we are going to have to close the system, then change something in our session.json, then try logging in again. So what we can do here, just say on press. So here we're just gonna create a function that's gonna allow us to log out, right? So we're just gonna say root dot logout, like this. So let's put parentheses. Now let me just copy this, Ctrl-D, Ctrl-C. Now let's get rid of home.kv. Now let's open home.py. So underneath our on enter function, I'm gonna say define logout, like this. Then here, so here let's put a confirm pop-up. So what we can do here is let's just say, let's call it logout. So let's create a variable and we're gonna call it logout. So inside our variable, we're gonna store our confirm pop-up. So this logout variable is going to be our confirm pop-up. So let's put parentheses here. Then here we're gonna say logout dot title, and it's going to be you sure you want to log out, and let's put a question mark here.
Then I'm gonna say logout dot callback. So if we say yes, we want to log out, this is the function we're gonna call. So here when I say self dot, let me just say logout underscore callback, control D, control C it. Then here we're gonna say logout dot open. Right. So now let's create our callback function. So here when I say define, then paste it, self, comma, then you're gonna say star args, or you can put an underscore, still fine. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna make sure let's open session.json, right? So let's say we have user ID to an email ASD, right? So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna change this user ID to 0 and our email, we're just gonna, let's just leave it at empty. Even if we leave it with an actual email address, whenever we start the system, right, it's just gonna check if the user ID is more than 0, right? Because our SQL databases, they never given a user an ID of 0. So we're just gonna make sure that whenever we log out, we make sure this is 0, so that whenever we start up and Python code, if it finds the user ID set to 0, it's just gonna take us to the login form. But if it's 1 or any other number, it's just gonna take us straight to the home screen. So whenever we are logging out, we're just gonna update this to 0. So let's go back to home.py, right? Let's open auto.py. So I'm just gonna copy this. Let me just copy this also, then paste it here like this. So we need to import JSON. This user ID, we need to just say 0 here, and our email like this. Then let's import this MD app. Import this name KivyMD.app. Yeah, this one like this. So now our logout function should be fine, right? So now we can run this app, test registering, logging out, and logging in, right? Okay. So since we had that true inside our session.json, right? The code just took us straight to our home screen. So now let's test logging out. Are you sure you want to log out? Yes. Okay, so it didn't change screens, right? So let's minimize this and see what's up. Okay, this needs to be auth screen, right? So let's change this to, this was set to 0. So what just happened? Okay, let's rerun this. Okay, so now this test registering first, right? So my auth screen is looking kind of blurry, right? Let me try minimizing it. So if I minimize it, it's looking okay. But then everything else is looking just fine when maximized. But anyways, let's continue, then we can see we can fix it later. So our name, let's just say ZXC, email ASD, let's just say test at test.com, like this. Then our phone, let's just use 123, or password 1234567 8, and we're just gonna repeat it. Okay, so now let's register. Okay, so this works, right? Let's log out. Okay. Our email was test at test.com. Then our password was 1234567 8. So let's log in. Okay, so this is working just fine.
So now what we can do is we can just make sure on enter function, whenever we access our auth screen, clears everything, right? It clears all our input fields. So let me just close this, then start working on that. Then after that, we're gonna work on our clients, right? So let's open auth.py. We're gonna need this. Control C. So here, let's create a function right here. So I'm gonna say define let me just call it clear. Then I'm gonna paste this here. So we're gonna need these two also, and I'm gonna place them here like this. Okay, so now I'm gonna get rid of this. What am I doing now? Okay, so now what we need to do here is we're just gonna set it to empty quotes like this. So I'm gonna copy this, paste it here, here. Okay, right. So now what we need to do, right, get rid of this return here and just say self dot clear like this. So whenever we get the all screen displayed, right, it's gonna call this. But sometimes, right, this function might not get called. So best way to prevent that is just use croc. So here when I say croc dot schedule once, then here I'm gonna say self dot clear, and we're not gonna put parentheses here. Then when I set this to 0.1 like this, so let's import this clock here. So when I import it from Kivy.clock like this, then let's get rid of this one here. Then here let's put delta time. Okay, so this should clear our inputs whenever we get the auth screen displayed, right? So let me run this and check if this worked out. Okay, so let's log out. Okay, test at test.com, password 1234567 8. So let's change this one and let's put some random information here. Okay, so let's try logging in, right? And let's log out. Okay, so now this is working. So let's log in again and start working on clients. Okay, right. So now we need to work on our clients. So we're gonna need to be able to fetch our clients, add our clients, update our clients, and delete our clients. Right. So let's really minimize this.
So now let's navigate to clients folder right here, right? So we're not gonna need clients.kv, just gonna use clients.py. So let's open it up here. Okay. So what we need to do first, we should be able to get our user ID from our session.json first, right? So inside our run essentials function, we're just gonna do this. So here we're gonna say self dot let's just call it get get user ID like this. Then we're gonna put parentheses here. So I'm gonna control D this, control C it. Then I'm gonna put the function right here. Okay, put parentheses. Then inside this function, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a try except here. So here I'm gonna say try. Then let me navigate back to AutoPy. So I need to copy this function here. Just copy these 3 lines here. Okay. Control C, then open clients.py. So I'm gonna paste it here like this. Then we need to change this and put an R here. Then we don't need this line here. So let's get rid of it. Then right here we're just gonna say session, and we're gonna say our session is equal to JSON dot load. Then we're gonna load our file here. So let's import JSON. So it's imported up there. Okay, fine. So let's proceed. Then here we need to say self user ID is going to be session. Then we're gonna put parentheses here. Then inside of parentheses, just gonna put quotes. Then user ID. So we're gonna get a user ID here. So we don't have this user ID yet. So I'm gonna control D, control C this. Then I need our clients. I'm just gonna say user underscore ID is going to be a numeric property. Okay, we need to have an O here and parentheses at the end. So let me try importing it. Okay. Now we need to say except file not found error. Then we're just gonna return none. Okay. So now we are able to get our user ID from our session.json file, right? Then we're gonna store it inside our user ID here at the top here. Then after this, right, there we should be able to get our clients using our user ID. So we're just gonna change this part here. So what we're gonna do here is first underneath here, for now I'm just gonna say con. So our connection is gonna come from connection, and let's put parentheses here. So let's import this connection here. So we need it from data.connection. Okay, like this. Then underneath here, let's put our cursor. So our cursor is gonna be con.cursor like this. Let's put parentheses here. Then let's put a try except here. So here let's say try. I'm now making a lot of typos. So what I'm gonna do is let's just take this for loop here, and I'm gonna tap it once like this. Then on top here I'm gonna say I'm gonna take this line here and I'm gonna put it here, and I'm not gonna need this one, so I'm gonna get rid of it. So here I'm gonna say okay. So each time, right, we're gonna call this show clients function. We need to make sure the first thing that we do, we set the self.clients list property variable, right? We're gonna set it to empty so that whenever we try something, we first clear the table. Then after we populate the clients, that's when the on clients function down here gets called, and then it populates our table, right? So for now, let's just say try, then we're gonna make sure it's empty. Then after I'm making sure that it's empty, here we're gonna say SQL is equal to, so let's put our SQL statement here. So here we're gonna say select all from clients where user underscore ID is equal to, so here let's just put percentage S here like this, and then control S it. I need to check something real quick. I need to open, okay, let me close this tables.py, right? So this is called user ID is same here. Okay, fine. Close this. Get rid of this. Do we need this? No, we don't. So let's close it. Okay. Then I need this SQL variable here. Let's put our values. And inside our values, we just need to put our self.user ID, right? So it's going to be a numeric property, but for it to be used here, it need to be changed to a string, right? So here I'm gonna say str parentheses, then inside here I'm just gonna say self.user underscore ID. So here we just made sure that we changed the user ID to a string, right? At first it was just an integer, it was a number. Okay, so after putting our values in there, we need to say cursor dot execute, then we're gonna execute SQL and values like this. Then what we need to do here is when I say clients is equal to cursor dot fetch all like this. Now what we need to do now is I need to get rid of these here. So the first one here, we're just gonna say our ID is always going to be a number, an integer, right? But then our custom widget, right? It takes in what we call it. It takes in string values. But if you look at our own client's function, right? Everything is turned to a string here. So we might as well just take whatever you're gonna get from here, right? And just paste it as well, the way it is. So here I'm just gonna say ID, gonna say X at index 0 like this. So I'm just gonna copy it. Then I'm gonna paste it here. And here. Like this. So this one is going to be 1. And this one is going to be 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wait. So between ID and name, we should have our user ID. So this one needs to be 2. And this needs to be 3, 4, 5, and 6. Like this. Okay. Let's open auto.py. So I'm just gonna copy this here. And then I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, so let's import this widget. So I believe we're able to fetch our clients now. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna copy this get user ID function here. Then I'm gonna paste it inside transactions and properties. So okay, we're here with properties. So let's open properties.py. So I'm gonna paste it here, right? Then I'm gonna paste this here. So we make sure that we get our user ID first before we try to show our properties, right? And the other one was transactions. So let's open transactions.py, Control C. So I'm gonna paste this right here. So let's import this JSON, import JSON like this. Okay, so do we have it? Okay, we need to import it here also. Let me copy this, then paste it inside our transactions.py right here like this. Okay, so now let's continue working on our clients.py. So after doing this, right, let's just try running it and see if we can see our clients. So we don't have anything inside our database, but if you just run it and if everything is okay, we should get it now an empty table. So let's run it. Okay, let's open clients. So this should be okay. So this is fine. This is working just fine. So what we need to do now is work on adding, updating, and deleting. Then we're just gonna check if we can add a client. Then if it shows here, then we're gonna try editing it. And if that works, then we're gonna try deleting it. And if we finish with these clients, with this client screen, right, then we're gonna work on transactions, properties, then our dashboard. Um, Now that we have to work on adding our clients, right? Before we do anything, we just need to add our final block here underneath our accept here. So let's navigate back to auth.py and just gonna copy this here. Control C, then paste it underneath here. Then I will need to shift tab it twice, one, two, thrice, like this, right? So that we make sure that our connection is closed. Yeah, right. So, because we didn't close it inside here, inside our try here, so we're just gonna close it here. Okay. So now I'm just gonna copy this. Then I scroll downwards and like inside our add client callback here, I'm just gonna paste it down here like this. So let me just add some space in here so that this looks okay. So we don't need this self.clients, so we can get rid of it. We're gonna need our SQL statement here. We're not gonna need this, so let's get rid of it. And, and we're not gonna need this here. Okay. So underneath this statement here, we need to have a con dot commit here so that we can save all information to our database, right? Then here we need to say self dot show clients like this. So now let's edit this statement here. So let's get rid of everything. So right here we need to put an insert statement. So here it has to be insert into clients. Then the first thing we're gonna insert is our user ID. Then name, phone, email, address, and preferences like this. All right. Then here we need to say values like this. So we're gonna insert 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need to put our percentage s here, copy it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this, right? Then right here, we can get rid of this here. Okay, then comma, name, comma, phone, comma, email, comma, address, and preferences, like this, right? So I believe our add client callback is now ready, right? So let's just rerun the system and check if this is working. Okay, clients, add name, let's say Steve, phone, 1, 2, 3, email, Steve at steve.com, address 123 Nowhere Street, Mars. Preferences, let's just say ASD, right? Okay, so our add clients function is working perfectly, right? So let's minimize this and work on an update function, all right? So I'm just gonna copy this. Control C, scroll downwards. Then inside the update client callback, I'm just gonna paste it here, right? So now we need to get rid of this self.user ID. We're not gonna need it, and we're not gonna need it here also. So let's get rid of it. Then let's put an ID here like this, right? Um, Now let's get rid of this here and here when I say where ID is equal to percentage s here. Then this needs to be update clients set. Then here I'm just gonna copy this here. Then I'm gonna select this comma here, control delete. Then I'll press left arrow, control V like this. Then I'll need to paste this here also. So now it's okay. Okay. So this should be fine. This should work. So let's run it and test our update functionality. Okay, let's open clients. Okay, we were using a button. Okay, so IFTFGHIJ update. Okay, so this is working perfectly. So now let's work on our delete functionality. So let's minimize this. Scroll downwards. Um, so we're gonna need this here. So let me select this. Then I'll paste it down here. Right. Um, so we're not gonna need all of these stuff here. So we're only gonna need an ID inside our values. So let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this statement here. So let's leave where ID is equal to like this. So here we're just gonna say delete from clients, right? So the delete, excuse me, this should be delete client. Control Z. Let me control D and just select it one time. So this is delete client callback, like this, right? What else? What else? What else? What else? I believe this is fine. So let's run it again. Okay. Clients. So let's try deleting it. Okay, let's delete this client. Yes. Okay, so our delete functionality is working perfectly, right? So let's minimize it, then we can work on our transactions. We minimize this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this. Then I'm just gonna do it first because it's the easiest. So let's navigate to transactions.py, then paste it down here, right? So this needs to be transactions like this. So let's import our warning pop-up. Okay, our connection like this. And this looks okay, right? So let's scroll upwards. So right here, right, we're gonna get our user, but we don't have the self.user ID. So let's just put it here. So you're gonna say user underscore ID is equal to numeric property. Then put parentheses here. Do we have it imported upwards on top here? Okay, so here it is. Get user ID. So now let's work on show transactions, right? So let's open clients.py. Close this. So let's keep clients.py, properties.py, and transactions.py. Oh, okay. So let me copy this here, this block of code here. Then inside transactions.py, I'm just gonna paste it here like this. Uh, so I'm gonna need these here. And so let's paste it here. Okay. So this, let's get rid of this. So this needs to be transactions. So let's get rid of this here. And let's move this one up here. So let's put some space here. Okay, so now let's get rid of this and put x in parentheses here at index 0. So let me change this. So this needs to be at index 2. Three, 4. This is going to be at index 5. And this is going to be at index 6, like this. So we can get rid of everything down here, like this. I believe our show transaction function is working perfectly now. So let's run it and see if it's fine. But if it's not, we're just gonna catch it a little bit later. We're just gonna see it. We're just gonna get an error or something. Okay, transactions. So this is empty. So this should be a good sign. Minimize this. So now let's work on adding transactions. Then if there's anything wrong with our show transaction, we're just gonna catch it here. So let's open clients.py. Scroll downwards. Okay, add client callback. So we're just gonna copy everything from here to here. So let's open transactions.py. Add transactions callback. So we're gonna paste it here, right? Control S to save. Yeah. So what we're gonna do now, insert into, so this needs to be transactions like this, and show clients. This needs to be show transactions. Okay, so this ways. Okay, here we are. Minimize this. Okay. So this needs to be. Let's change it to date, and this needs to be changed to property. This needs to be amount, type, and details. So this can remain the same. So let's just check out tables.py. Where's transactions here? Details, type, amount, property, date. Okay. So let's try updating adding our transactions. So we're just gonna add a dummy transaction in there. Okay, transactions, add transactions. We're gonna need to change the color of this thing. So let's just say choose this May 6, okay? Property, let's just say property B. Amount 211, type, expense, detail. Let's just say plumbing maintenance, and let's edit. Okay, so of our show transactions function is working properly and our add transaction is working properly. So now let's work on updating and deleting. Right. So let's just select everything here. From here to here. Then we're gonna paste it inside our update transaction callback, right? Okay. So this is going to be update transactions. Then here we're gonna say set. So we're not gonna change our user ID, right? So let's get rid of it there and here. Then at the end here, let's put our ID like this. So let's get rid of everything here. And this is going to be where ID is equal to percentage S here. So I'm gonna copy this. Then paste it here. Then I'm gonna paste it here also like this. So our update function should be working properly now. Okay, I believe this is fine. If we missed anything, we're gonna see it now. So we're running it. Transactions. So let's update it. So let's change the property name to D and update. At line 1. Okay, minimize it. So, okay, we replaced our commas, right? So we should have a comma here. Here also. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, so our update function is working properly. So let's try deleting it. Okay, this is working perfectly. So now what we need to do is start working on properties here, right? Okay, so let's minimize this. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna get rid of transactions because we're done with it, right? And start working on properties here. Okay, so on top here we should have user underscore ID is equal to numeric property. Then let's put parentheses here, right? So we need to import this. Okay. So now let's work on show properties here. So let me open clients.py and I'm just gonna copy this whole thing here. So let's open properties.py like this. Here we have show properties. So I'm just gonna paste it on top here. Let me get rid of our terminal. Okay. So let's import warning pop-up here. Then our connection. Okay. Then, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna get rid of this line here up until here like this. So I'm gonna create some space. Then I'm gonna replace it with this. Then I'm gonna tap this inside one time like this. Okay. So let me control D this, control C. Then okay, let me copy this one. Ah, okay, let me do it one by one. Like this. Okay. So let me get rid of the underscore here. Some spacing here. Okay. Excuse me. So let me get rid of these lines here. Mm, okay. So this so I'm gonna change this right to x at index 0. Then I'm just gonna copy everything from here. Then I'm just gonna replace these values here. Like this. So this one here is going to be at index 2 because at index 1 we have user ID. So, and this is going to be index 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is going to be at index 10. Now our show properties function should be working just fine. So what I need to do is working on adding our properties, right? So let's scroll downwards. Then I'm gonna need add client callback. Then I'm gonna copy everything from year to year. Then navigate back to properties.py. Then paste everything here like this. So what we're gonna do, right? So here we have user ID already in the year, right? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of everything else in here like this. Then here we're gonna have avatar. Then I'm gonna have name. Then I'm gonna have address, value, rent, tenant, type, status, and notes. So let's open tables.py and see if we have this any information here. Okay, let's proceed. Excuse me. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just gonna select this, Control C, press right arrow, then paste it 4 more times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Then let's get rid of everything here. So here we have avatar. Then we're gonna have name, address, value, rent, tenant, type, status, and notes like this, right? So with this, we should have add property callback working just fine, right? So now I'm gonna copy everything from year to year, right? Then I'm just gonna work on update property real quick. On update property callback. Yeah. So I'm gonna get rid of everything from year to here. Then here I'm gonna say where ID is equal to percentage s like this. Okay, so I'm gonna select this here. Then right here, press left arrow, paste it. Then we need to paste it here also, like this. So we're not gonna need a user ID, right? So this is going to be set. So we're gonna get rid of insert into and put update. And this needs to be properties. In lowercase. Okay. Get rid of this. And let's put comma ID here, right? So if you can see that we have an avatar here, right? So adding and updating property is gonna be a little bit different. So we're just gonna have to make room for our avatars of our images, our building images, right? So we just need to tweak these two functions a little bit. So let's start with add property callback, right? Just above our SQL statement, right? Yeah, let's add a new statement. So here we're gonna say if avatar is equal to, so let's just open our models.py, right? Inside our widgets. So models.py, let me just control F, search for avatar. Okay. It's add image, so let me just copy this. Okay, so let's close the models.py. So if avatar is equal to add image, right? This is what we're gonna do. So let me just open our assets folder, images. So we have blank house here, right? Okay, fine. This is okay. So let's minimize this. Minimize this. These also. We still need clients. We don't need the home. We don't need transactions. Let's close our widgets. Okay, fine. Let's proceed. So if excuse me. So if avatar is equal to add image, right? Here we're gonna say width open. So what are we gonna open? So here we're gonna say assets / images / blank house dot png, right? In quotes we're gonna put rb, then exit parentheses, then we're gonna say else f. So we're gonna say s file, but let's just use sf, right? Then here we're gonna say m okay, fine, let's just use m. I was gonna say image, but let's is equal to f dot read, and let's put parentheses here, right? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take our blank house image, right? Then read it. Then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna rewrite it inside our images folder, right? With the name of our property, right? So that whenever we're displaying our properties, we know which image is set for each property that's stored in our database, right? Then I'm just gonna copy this line also again, put some space here and paste it. Shift tab once. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna say we need to change this one to WB so that we can be able to write the image like this. And we need to change this F to G so that we can just have some separation and some difference here. Then what we need to do, right? We need to say we're gonna change this M to G. Then we're gonna say G dot write. Then we're gonna write M like this. Then we're gonna put M here like this. Okay. Then what we need to do, right? We know they have a name for the new image, right? That's going to be associated solely to each property, right? So what we can do, I'm just gonna get rid of blank house here, right? Then I'm gonna put curly brackets here. Then some spacing. So the first one, right? We can add a name here. Then we can put the address or value or rent or something so that we can be able to identify each building by each unique name. But the best way we can do this, right? Each building has its own address. So here we can say name, then address here. Like this. Then we need to put an F here. Like this. Okay. So this should be fine. Then underneath our if statement here, we need to have an else, right? So what I'm gonna do is just gonna copy these two functions here, then paste them here, right? Then here we don't have to open a blank house image, right? So if the image is add image, that's when we're gonna use the blank house image. But if we have already selected an image, we're just gonna take that image, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of this line. Then I'm gonna put curly braces in here. Then I'm gonna put our avatar in here like this. This is gonna remain the same. Not gonna change everything. The second one here. So we're just gonna change the first one like this. Then what we need to do now, whether we're using our blank house image or the image we selected inside our model view, right? What we need to do now, we need to take that information, then we're gonna pass it to avatar. So what we can do here is we can say avatar underscore so that there's going to be some difference. Then when I say avatar underscore is equal to name. So we're gonna do it the same way we're doing it here, so that we can be able to call this grab this image using the same name here. So here I'm gonna say name plus, then I'm gonna put quotes here, some space in there, then plus address like this, right? So what we need to do now is we need to say avatar underscore inside our values here like this. So now our add property is now complete, right? So now let's work on our update property callback. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this, then paste it on top here. But what we're gonna do now is just gonna play around with it a little bit more. This needs to be ways avatar underscore like this. Okay. So what we need to do here, right? We can have a situation where someone they change some other details, right? They don't change the avatar or the property name and the property address, right? If we have that kind of situation, right, we don't need to generate another image or change anything, right? So what we can do here, right, we need to check if, let's say, after someone hits update, right, we're gonna check if the avatar name that we have, right, is the same with the one that we're gonna have after we join name and address, right? So if it's the same, it means that the user didn't change the avatar, or let's say the user didn't select any other emails, right? So that's when we're gonna know that the user didn't change the property name or the address, right? So we're not gonna do anything. We're not gonna play with the avatar or anything, right? So to do that, what we can do is we can just create an avatar variable, right? So let's just scroll upwards, and underneath our delete property here, we can say self dot avatar. Then we're gonna say it's equal to none like this, right? So let's go back to our update callback. This is add property callback. We need update property callback. So this one is going to be if self dot avatar like this. So self dot avatar, right? I'm just gonna copy this line here. Okay, so if self.avatar is equal to we need to close this quote here, okay, like this. So if it's like this, right, what we need to do here is what did I just do here? Okay, let me try and see if I can fix this. So here, let's say if um avatar is equal to add image like this, right? So let's say the user didn't change the image, right? So what we can do inside here, right, is nest another if here. So then we're gonna check if the avatar didn't change the name and the address, right? So which means the avatar is just gonna remain the same. It's gonna be unchanged. So if this is the case, right, here we need to say pass, right? Nothing is gonna happen. But if let's say the user updated the property or the address, that means the image is gonna change, right? So we're gonna need another image. Excuse me. Then you're gonna say else, right? Then we're gonna load this blank house APNG, right? Then we're gonna store it with the updated name and the updated address like this. Then in here we need to, so I'm just gonna copy this here. Okay, so I'm gonna paste this here. So now we don't need to oh let's see. We can try working with this one, right? Then if there are changes that need to be made, we're just gonna make them as we continue, right? So looking at the second function, right? Um the main if statement, I mean. So here we just need to tap this inside here. Then we need to change this show clients to show properties like this. Okay. I believe this should be fine. So now let's work on our delete property, right? So go back here, copy this. Then let's paste it here, right? So this needs to be properties. Okay. I believe this is now fine. So let's run this, right? Then we're gonna try adding a building, a property. Then we're gonna try updating it. Then we're gonna try deleting it, right? So let's run this. Okay, properties, and then add. So property name, let me just say QWE, address ASD, value 123, rent 12, select current tenant. So let me just say Tate. Property type, apartment, status, under lease, notes, FGH. We're not gonna add an image, then let's try adding the property, right? Okay, unknown column avatar in field list. Okay, console. So let's minimize this. Let's open tables.py. So inside our properties, right? We have an avatar here. We might need to read that warning pop-up label again to understand what's happening. So let's open properties.py. Where is our add callback? Add the client's user ID, avatar, whatnot. Okay, so let's open our tables.py. Avatar. Okay, let's go back to properties.py and let's open this. So let's try this again and just look at the error. Then excuse me. So I'm just gonna put some random information here. Okay, add image, add property. Okay. Unknown column avatar in field list. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's minimize this. Okay. So we didn't change this table now, so I'm just gonna control D this and change this to properties. I hope I didn't mess this up here. So there's properties. So let's rerun this and see what happened now. Okay, properties. Wait, okay. Random information time. Tenants. Let's just say 9 type condo status under renovation. Add. Okay. This is working. So let's try updating it. Status under construction. Update. Okay, this is updating. But we don't see our building email, our property image here. Right? Let me just check something real quick. Ways or so we're gonna need models.py, right? No, not models.py. We're gonna need tables.py. This is client tab, transaction tab, and this is property tab. So here we have source robot avatar, right? So let's open our properties.py. So we're sending the avatar to excuse me. Okay. Here we have it, right? So what seems to be the problem? I think I know what the issue is. Okay, fine. So what we need to do that let me get rid of this terminal here. Scroll downwards. We need to copy this statement here. then scroll back up, then year on avatar, right? So we need to paste it here like this. Then what we need to do now is get rid of this here. Let's just get rid of this. Then we can just use one. Then inside here, let's try putting x at index 2 like this. So let's rerun it again. Okay, let's open properties. Okay, so now we have our image shown here. So now we've added, updated. Now let's try deleting it. Okay. There's no attribute show counts console. So we need to change this to show properties, right? But I believe we've already deleted our property, right? So Control S. So now let's run it. Properties. Okay, so now we've managed to delete it. So we've worked on clients, transactions, and properties, right? Then inside our dashboard, right? I'm only gonna take information to show here. So what do we need to do? Okay, so let's just work on properties under management real quick, right? But then we don't have properties inside our database. So what you can do, right, is you can add maybe 5 or 6 properties, right? Then you're gonna copy the show properties function, then just tweak it to fit properties under management. It's just the same information. Then for your homework, you can just make sure you can calculate how much income you get, properties, the total clients that you have, and the total expenses, and that's it. So with this project that we've worked on together, right, you can tweak it, update it, improve it, even sell it, or whatever you do with it, it'll be your work. So happy coding, peace, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.